Hello Architects, welcome to my channel where learning art is fun. I'm Sarah and today I'm going to challenge myself to make a paper tortillon or blending stump in 5 minutes or less. And after the challenge I'll go through the process step by step so you can follow along at home. So a tortillon is a tightly rolled piece of paper that's used to blend or smudge materials like charcoal, graphite or pastel. And I use them quite a lot and mentioned last week when drawing Maximus that I would show you how to make them for yourself at home. So you can buy them ready-made, and I've got a few here on the left hand side, but it's much easier and cheaper to make them yourself at home. And as you can see close up, they do look pretty good, and you can vary the size of them quite easily, as I'll show you later on. But first let's do the challenge. So for this challenge all I'm going to need is a piece of A4 computer paper, a stopwatch, scissors, tape and a piece of sandpaper. And yes, we did it with a minute to spare. So let's try out and see if it works. So I'm just going to lay down some pencil on a scrap piece of paper and try it out. And it does a pretty good job. So let's do it again step by step so you can follow along at home. So the first step is to take a piece of A4 paper, lay it out in front of you with the longest sides top and bottom. Now fold it in half like I'm doing here. So a piece of A4 paper will make 2 tortillons. And once you've done that, you can just tear it in half. It doesn't matter if the edge is jagged, but if you prefer you can cut it to make it neat. So once we've torn our paper into 2 pieces, we're going to put the paper in front of us with the shortest edge at the top and the bottom like I'm doing here, and fold over the bottom corner to form a triangle. Notice it's not going the whole way over to the other side of the piece of paper because it doesn't need to, we just need that angular bit there to make the shape of the tortillon. And once we've done that we can just cut this triangle off because we don't need it. So if you're right-handed like me, place your piece of paper so that the longest straight edge is on your right. If you're left-handed, the longest straight edge will need to be on your left. Now we're ready to begin rolling, but remember I said you can vary the size and point of your tortillon in the beginning of this video? Well, here's how. If you want a fine point to your tortillon, which is good for blending small detailed areas, then you need to roll your paper at a slight angle. If you want a thicker end to your tortillon, however, you need to roll it more straight. So I made a fine point tortillon for the first challenge, so now I'm going to create one with a thicker point. And the most important thing when rolling up your paper is to roll it as tightly as you possibly can. And this might take a little bit of practice, and sometimes it can take a few minutes to get started, but it's worth taking that extra time and putting in that effort to get a really nice tight roll at the beginning. Because if it's not rolled tightly enough, it will just bend and won't be as easy to control. So the tighter you roll it, the better it will work and the longer it will last too. So it is definitely worth spending that time at the beginning to get it really nice and tight. And you can see how tightly I've rolled it there. And sometimes you need to unroll it and re-roll it to get a nice tight roll. So once you've got this, you just need to keep on going until you reach the end. It doesn't matter so much that it's not super tight on the left hand side, as we're going to trim this down, but the right hand side is where the pointy end is going to be, so you do need to do your best to get this as tightly rolled as possible. And once you've reached the end, you just need to secure this with a piece of tape. So any tape will do, but if you want to jazz your tortillons up, then you can use some patterned washi tape or whatever you've got at home. So before we smooth the blending end of the tortillon, we just need to cut off the excess paper, and the way I find out where to cut is just by gently bending the end of the tortillon, and where it stops bending easily is where I cut the end off with my scissors. And if you want to, you can fold this end in to make it look neat. And this makes it look a little bit more professional as well, because this is what the manufactured ones do. But it's not essential, so that step is up to you. So the last step is to smooth over the tip, and I use sandpaper for this, and the technique I use is just to hold over my tortillon and drag it down the sandpaper, turn it and repeat the process until you have a smooth, even tip. And I'm holding it at a slight angle, as you can see, so I just drag it, turn it and keep going until you've smoothed out that edge and you've got a really nice sort of finished point to it. And once I've done that, then it's finished. So if you want to make really thick, chunky tortillons, you can use exactly the same method, but you just need to use a bigger sheet of paper. So I would suggest having a go with this. It is a really good method, and it's also a cheap way to make something at home, which you then haven't got to buy. So you can save yourself some money. And I will be using these tortillons on my video on Friday, when we'll be using them to blend a fun pastel picture. So if you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye!